So as mentioned, guys, today's subject matter is crypto basics. So Des, you're not allowed to tell us about the NFTs you just bought. That's more advanced.
Well, that's good because I don't know bugger all about them anyway.
More advanced or stupid. It's like trading though. You shouldn't be doing it drunk.
Well, I was on a budget, so I couldn't do too much damage anyway. They looked a lot better when I was drunk than they did the next morning.
But yeah, so not too many people are probably going to jump on by the looks. And I wanted to keep the videos short anyway, so that everybody actually gets around to watching them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we will go through some of the subject matter that I mentioned before, and if you guys have got some questions along the way, we'll cover that too, but we'll keep it down to under half an hour. Big promises. I won't be talking too long, but I will be, and for those of you watching this as a recording, it's most of you that I'll be talking to when I say that I'm going to be pushing you guys to be a bit more active in the group. Otherwise, I probably just won't bother. Obviously, That's the aim that those on the calls. I know you all want a bit of incentive in that. I just offered to give away cash if we could get decent amounts of people on the calls. I won't be doing it today, just for 3 people. Sorry, guys, but I will be also keeping tally of the people that make the effort to jump on the calls. And I do understand that not everybody can make the calls for various different reasons, and that's fine. As long as people are watching the recordings and everything and being active and trying to learn and all of that, then I'm going to keep, I'll keep a track of those that are actually watching, actually making the time to get on the calls, those that I think are, actively trying to learn, so which is what this group's all about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just multitasking here as well. I'm just keeping everyone muted. And so if you want to talk, you'll have to unmute. But yeah, and there will be some giveaways for those people, whether or not you're on the call. I think I haven't really thought about it, but if we can get 10 people out of the group to jump on a Zoom call, I'll give away $100. If we can get 20 on, I'll give away a couple of $100, and we'll see how we go from there. Failing that, every now and then, I'll just give some money away to one of the people that's been the most active and the most useful and is trying the hardest in the group as well. And guys, I know this group is simply for education. We're not going to talk about any specific opportunities or anything, but at some stage, we're going to have to talk about the odd specific opportunity just so that we can use it as a, as a bit of a control, as an example to go through, because a lot of what I want to go through is, identifying risk assessment, how to operate, setting up a good game plan and all that. And without an actual example, that's all just theory. So I'll probably pick some opportunity that someone sent me at some stage, not one that I'm going to be joining, so not one that I'm going to be pitching to you guys, but we'll have a look through it together at some stage in the future on a Zoom after we've done a few lessons in that, and we'll pick it apart, we'll pull it apart, we'll identify the risks, we'll go through, I guarantee you whatever one I pick, it won't be one I'll be joining, so it will be not a pitching session. And we'll just go through it and have a think about, if we did decide we were going to jump on this, where do we see the risks, how are we going to avoid them, what's the best way to operate with this specific sort of an opportunity. And so I think that'll be interesting as well. But what I did want to say was that at some stage, and it won't be for a little while, because I want some actual learning and education to be going on and for the group to develop and for us to have a bit of a report. But for those that have shown an interest and those that are keen, those that I really think deserve it, at some stage in the future, a new opportunity that I'll get involved in myself I might pick 10 of you guys and fund an account for you, and then we can. It won't be part of our Hackers Down Under Facebook group or anything, but as a bit of a reward for being in that, we might have a little bit of a subgroup going somewhere, and I'll fund everyone's accounts. And probably the only provision there will be, the only fine print or requirement, I guess, will be that you'll have to follow. I'll put the money in your account for you, but you'll have to follow what we've been learning here. Like, we'll come up with a game plan. We'll come up with a game plan together, and you'll have to stick with that. And my point of the reason that I'd want to do that is one, because I'm doing pretty well out of this space, and those that are trying to get ahead, I want to help you get ahead, and you will do well out of it. But the other reason I want to do that is, and that's why I want you to follow the game plan we'll come up with, so that you actually do end up ahead and making profit. Will be then we can take that little example with no specifics, not trying to promote it to the rest of the group, but come back and say, we just used what we've learned in the Hackers Down Under Facebook group, and I've just tripled my money, or whatever your story may be. But we'll stick with it. We'll make some money. It won't be like huge amounts of money, but if we can all start with $100 in something, I don't even know what that is yet, and triple our money, that's a good little testimony to, being able to make money no matter what you're involved in, as long as you use the right game plan. All right, so that so far has had absolutely nothing to do with today's topic of crypto basics. So let's change that and talk about crypto basics, guys. I posted in the Facebook group a few subjects that I think would be handy today. That was, what's crypto, what's the difference between the different types of cryptos, wallets, exchanges, how to buy, store and use crypto, just the basics like that. Was there any part of that you guys might have had any specific questions on? That's how we'll start. Not really, that's fine. Nobody usually knows what to ask. And if you guys want to, as I'm chatting away, because I know crypto has been around for a little while now, and we've been in crypto groups together, and I fully understand that sometimes you don't want to ask really basic questions, or what you think might be really basic questions. So if you don't want to do that, but you do have a question, yeah, well, honestly, there's a lot of people might want to know what is Bitcoin, really. But if you've got a question and you want to ask in the chat group, instead of doing the chat to everyone, you can just do it to me personally, and I'll just cover it, and it'll be like an anonymous question to the rest of the call in the group. That should be fine. And so I'll just make a start. As I said, we probably won't even get through all of these subjects today. The more people get on the call, the more information I'll cover each call as well. Yay. All right, so I've just had a question there, and it's just about wallets, really. So I'll go through wallets first. And a lot of people, even those that have had a bit of crypto experience, don't understand what a wallet is really, or what the differences are between the different wallets and everything. So I should put a shirt on, Des.
I was just playing.
Yeah, obviously. All right, so when you buy crypto, generally that has to be done through what's called an exchange. So that's just a platform where you can buy and sell and trade crypto, that sort of thing. Examples of exchanges are CoinSpot, CoinJar, Binance, and a whole heap of others. They usually also provide a wallet. So you can buy your crypto from that platform, from that exchange, and then you can store it in the wallet that they provide on their platform. So the exchange is where you're buying the crypto. The wallet is where you're storing it after you buy it. And that's always generally all fully automatic. You buy your crypto and it just ends up in your wallet on that exchange platform. You don't really need to do too much setting up or anything like that. So that is a type of wallet. And a lot of people use them. I use them as well, but it's generally not recommended to, if you've got crypto that you just want to store, you're not doing anything with, it's not really recommended for you to keep it in that exchange wallet. The only reason being is that, exchanges can get hacked. Exchanges can, have technical issues, and that would either mean you could lose your funds or you might lose access to them for a while if they have technical issues and all of that. So that's why it's not recommended to do it. And if it's only a small amount of crypto and you intend to sort of move it around a bit and everything, then that's still probably the preferable option with where to keep it. Once you have more crypto and you want it to be a bit safer and you want to keep it somewhere, and the next sort of step up is what's called a desktop wallet. And that's just a downloadable wallet onto your computer. You have a little icon on your desktop. That's why it's called a desktop wallet. There is also what they call a mobile wallet, which is exactly the same thing, but it's just an app on your phone, but essentially the same thing, same security and all of that. And they're very, very handy because you're completely in control of your own crypto, as opposed to on the exchange, whereas you're in control, but it's still held by another party, by that exchange. And if they, as I said, if they have technical issues, you might not be able to access your crypto. Exchanges are online platforms as well. So, it's anything that's online is potentially open to hacking, and there have been exchanges that have been hacked. People have lost money and all of that. On your own personal desktop wallet, you're in full control. Of course, quite often our computers and phones and all that are connected to the internet. So there is still the potential for hacking, but not the same risk, simply because, especially if you've set up just basic security procedures, decent passwords, use a bit of common sense and all that. And another education we'll do at some stage will simply be online security, because that's a big one in this day and age, no matter what you're doing, particularly when we're talking about crypto though. So that's a desktop wallet, and that's examples of desktop wallets are Exodus Wallet, Trust Wallet, Clever Wallet. I mean, there's any number of different ones kicking around as well. The next level of secure storage for crypto is just what's called a hard wallet. And that's when we're talking about our Trezors and our Nano Ledgers, and there are a whole heap of other varieties as well. Of course, they're probably the two most well-known ones though. And they're, like a Nano Ledger, it looks like a little USB stick. A Trezor, it'll look not like a phone, but it'll look like a little external hard drive sort of thing. They will have little tiny screens on them and a few buttons and that as well. But that's essentially all they are, just a piece of hardware, like an external hard drive or a USB stick that you store all your crypto information on it. They call that crypto information crypto keys. And without getting too technical, it's not like money that you can have in your hand. Your crypto is always just a string of ones and zeros, just a bit of coding on the blockchain. But you have keys. Keys are really just passwords to prove that you own those particular bits of crypto. And that's really what gets stored on your, or anywhere, on your desktop wallet, on your hardware wallet and all of that. And the reason that the hardware wallets are even more secure is that the vast majority of the time they're not online. So to use them, you need to plug them into a computer. At that point in time, they are connected to the internet and all of that, but there's a lot of security on them as well. Without getting into exactly what that is, different ones have different levels of security. But once you do a transaction, then it's disconnected from your computer, from the internet, and then it's totally unhackable. So that should sort of, I mean, there are other ways of storing crypto, but no real viable ways, in my opinion. So that's all I'm going to go through. there, excuse me. Just reading any questions. Yeah, so which type of wallet is preferable or the best, depending on what you're wanting to do with it. So, you know, a lot of people these days are actively using their crypto to make more crypto, and we'll get into that in the more advanced crypto lessons. But then you sort of want them fully accessible and on crypto exchanges. I use desktop type private wallets. They're private wallets because you're in control of it all the time myself. And which ones? Oh, we just went through which one's the most secure, but it's going to come down to what you want to do with it. You know, if you've got $1 million worth of Bitcoin and you just want to store that for 10 years because you know that's going to make you even more money, then I would say definitely get yourself a really good quality hardware wallet like a Trezor, store it on there, lock that Trezor in a safe or in a bank deposit or whatever, wherever you reckon the most secure place to store that is, and come back and check it in 10 years. So there's a question there about, can hardware wallets get viruses? I mean, anything that's connected to the internet can potentially get viruses, malware, and be hacked and all of that. But there are a lot more levels of security on both on the device itself and on the connection when you connect it to the internet and everything. So, you know, without a doubt, that's the most secure way of doing it. I know, and there's always a lot of scams getting around too, and that's going to be another lesson, how to avoid scams and all of that. But most scams require people to access sensitive information like passwords and all of that, and they can only do that if you let them. Basically, if you've got really dodgy passwords like Les123 or something, then they can just guess that. But you know, and as a general rule, just never click on any link. If you get an email with a link in it, don't click on it. If you get a text message with a link, don't click on it. Even if it looks like it's coming from some legitimate source, you don't click on it. Quick point in case, even though this isn't really the subject matter today, recently there was a phishing scam getting around with OKEx. OKEx is an exchange. And everyone were getting text messages that said, your OKEx account requires you to upgrade your identification in order for you to proceed with any withdrawals and deposits. Okay, I know personally 6 people, about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I got that text message myself, identified it as a scam, and I put it out into a couple of my chat groups, you know, warning people about it. Since then, say just in, you know, the last 2 weeks, I know 5 people personally that have had their OKEx accounts completely drained by clicking on that precise link. 3 of those people had basically nothing in their OKEx accounts. The worst loss was about $9,000 worth of crypto, but it's an extremely vicious little, it must put malware into your phone or something, because within 2 minutes of this guy clicking on that text message, he'd lost $9,000 and could do nothing about it. You know, so and scammers and hackers, they're getting pretty smart, much more sophisticated and everything as well. So it gets harder and harder to identify those scams, but always be extremely cautious with clicking any links. It's just as simple as that. You click on a link, it allows hackers to send programming into the device you clicked on that link with. So in this case, you click on the link, a hacking program, let's just call it that, goes into your phone, taps into all your sensitive data there, and automatically initiates withdrawals from your account. So yes, it's a dangerous world we live in, of course. Alrighty, that's the next question. The next thing as far as wallets go. online, like exchange wallets, extremely simple to use. Most any wallet's pretty easy to use, really, but you don't really have to do anything to set up those wallets. When you buy crypto, it ends up in that wallet. You want to send it, you put in a withdrawal address, you send it, receive to it. Just that's all you need to do. With a private wallet, like a desktop wallet, mobile wallet, or a hardware wallet, when you set that up, you'll also, you've got to have passwords as well, but you also get given either a 12 or a 24 word recovery phrases. So that'll just be 12 to 24 individual words that you need to memorize. No, you don't need to memorize them, but you definitely need to write them down and store them somewhere safe. The reason for that is if you've got a computer, you've got, let's say, an Exodus wallet on it, you've got a lot of crypto stored on that. What happens if your computer dies? Because that's the only record of where your crypto is in there. If your computer dies, all your crypto goes with it. But if you can have stored those recovery phrase words, you just need to download the Exodus wallet on a new device. And instead of setting up a new wallet, you just enter those recovery phrases and that will sync all of your crypto keys back onto there and you haven't lost your crypto. So, it's definitely safe from having any issues with computers. Another quick note on security though, is those recovery phrases. If, I help people set up Exodus wallets and things like that. So I don't care if you trust me or not, don't let me see your recovery phrases, because if I know your recovery phrases, I can just quickly download Exodus on a device, put in your recovery phrases, withdraw your crypto, and I won't even bother saying thank you. Okay, I'm not personally going to do that, but don't even trust me not to do it, because that's what can happen and we won't be able to do anything about it. So vital that you keep them safe and secure. In other words, when they tell you to write them down and store them somewhere safe, you write them down and store them somewhere safe. You don't do a little screenshot and save it in your gallery, because then when you click on that phishing link like OKEX, yeah, they get all that as well. But yeah, physically, if you don't like to do anything the old-fashioned way and writing it down, you can type it up in a Word document. You can store that on an external hard drive and then delete all record of it off your computer. Personally, I'm old school. That sounds technical. I write it down and I put it in my safe. Yeah, exactly. Your recovery words are like the keys to your bank. You just need them. Keep them safe. All right. Any questions on that so far, guys? I'm not going to do too much more because we don't have a lot of people on. And as I said, I want to keep it short. So we went through wallets, exchanges. So I'll try and touch quickly on all the other points that I put in the post, but exchanges, the most simplest, most common way people buy crypto. As I said, CoinSpot, CoinJar, Binance, Kraken, Bitfinex, there's a million of them. Other ways of buying crypto are more decentralized exchanges where, like when I buy crypto off at Binance, I'm physically buying it off Binance a lot of the times. Other ones are simply peer-to-peer, where it's just a site that connects you to another individual person and you do a trade that way. There's almost unlimited ways you can actually pay for crypto with other crypto, bank card, credit card, bank deposit. A lot of different exchanges have options where you can take physical cash still into places like the post office and give them the cash. You get crypto deposited in your wallet. We'll probably get into that in more detail on all the exact different options and what's available in different places in the world and everything as well, because one exchange is available in one country but not another country. Other countries have different regulations, different restrictions, so that can get confusing as well. We went through how to store crypto, how to spend crypto. For a lot of us, that's pretty obvious. You just spend it. But a lot of people don't understand how to spend crypto. A lot of people have no idea that you can spend crypto. And what I mean by that is you don't have to have crypto. You don't have to sell crypto for Australian dollars and then go and spend your Australian dollars. You can just directly spend crypto. And there's a whole number of different ways. I can use crypto to pay off my credit card. I can use crypto to put deposits into my bank account, which is essentially selling crypto to fund my bank account. But I can, most or a lot of different wallets and exchanges have various different cards, FPOS cards, Visa, MasterCards, which are crypto-based cards that you can just wave at, you can stick them in a teller and pull out physical cash. You can, and what I do quite often is I just wave them over the FPOS machine and pay for my groceries with crypto. There's a whole heap of different sites, more and more all the time, where you can just directly send them crypto to pay for goods and services. You can pay for, flights, products, pretty much anything. Not every website, not every online store and website will accept crypto, but there's a hell of a lot to do, and more doing so all the time. The majority all accept Bitcoin, and there's more and more different varieties of crypto that such online shopping stuff accept every day. It just depends on what the consumer wants, what's popular. So if it's a popular crypto, they tend to bring it on board. So everyone accepts Bitcoin, Ethereum. A lot used to accept Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. That's not so much anymore. A crypto like Dogecoin and SHIB, even though originally they started out as probably nothing more than a joke, really, because they've become so popular, now they're accepted at retail outlets as well. So there are so many ways you can spend crypto. If you've never been involved in crypto, it may seem that using crypto is difficult, but that's just simply because you haven't really done it yet. Personally, with a bit of experience, I find using crypto to purchase products and services online is far easier, especially if we're talking about international purchases, far easier than just using actual fiat currency. So, that just wanted to make it aware that spending crypto is every bit, if not easier, than spending Australian dollars. So you never have to worry about, okay, so I've earned all this crypto, now what have I got to do? How easy is it to spend? So you don't even have to worry about that. It's very, very simple. And the only other subject I haven't touched on, which Des asks straight at the beginning, is what is Bitcoin exactly? What is crypto exactly? And the differences between the types of crypto. So I'm going to finish this call pretty soon, but we'll just touch on that. Bitcoin was the original father of all the cryptos, of course. It was invented in 2008, 2009, didn't really start being used and sold until 2010. It's just gone up in value since then, become more and more popular since then. What it actually is, though, and I know this is crypto basics, but just so you have a rough understanding of it, is it's just some programming. It's just an algorithm called the blockchain. Now, this is the most secure type of, let's just call it programming to keep it simple, a secure type of programming that we have available today. Because it's decentralized, it's just not one person running it. It's got to go through various different parties to be verified, etc. So, and it's also a ledger being something that keeps a record of comings and goings. So if we want to compare it to a bank, the bank keeps a ledger. It's not on a stone tablet anymore, of course, but it's all computer software. But they keep a record of who owns what money, who sends money to who, what you send, what you receive. All of that's recorded by the bank, as you're obviously aware. The blockchain, which is essentially what crypto is, does exactly that as well. It keeps a record of what crypto you own, where you send crypto, where you get crypto, like when you send crypto, when you receive crypto. All of that is kept on the blockchain ledger. And that's essentially, let's just start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a blockchain, which is a record of that ledger. But it's not just like with the bank, that one, like National Australia Bank, it's the National Australia Bank that records all your National Australia Bank details comings and goings. So that's centralized because it's just the bank that does that. With the Bitcoin blockchain, it's decentralized. So it's not just the one body that's keeping a record. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people around the world that have computing equipment that, like they call them miners or nodes. They have computer equipment that the transactions go through. When I send crypto from me to you, I don't know where it's going to go. It might go through some guy over in, Texas or over in Bangladesh or India. It might go through his computing equipment. He won't even really know about it either. And it won't just go through one, it'll go through multiple. And it might have to go through like 10 of those and all get verified, that transaction get verified by all 10 before that actual transfer will be processed. And that happens very, very quickly, of course, much quicker than trying to send fiat currency overseas. So that's essentially what crypto is. It's just a decentralized, computerized ledger transaction record of the comings and goings of a currency called Bitcoin. And I might just touch on that too. Like, people say, well, what is Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin, in my opinion, just to make it easy, is simply a currency. Every bit as much a currency as the Australian dollar, the US dollar, the Japanese yen, and then you got Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin does fluctuate a lot more than fiat currency, but fiat currencies do fluctuate quite a lot as well. So that's a good way of thinking of. In Australia, we mostly use Australian dollars, come and go. And if you're in the US, you're going to be using US dollars. But the beauty of Bitcoin is it doesn't matter whether you're in Australia or the US, you can just transact with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was the original one. And then along came all the altcoins, sort of pretty much starting with Ethereum, which is just another crypto. It has a totally separate blockchain to Bitcoin. So it's like the difference between the Aussie dollar and the US dollar. It's a completely separate one, but it's still a crypto, so it's still similar. Now, these days, the difference between a coin and a token is really just a term. Once upon a time, there was a bit of a difference, but now people call tokens coins and coins tokens, and I don't think it really matters what you want to call them. They all generally work on a normal sort of a blockchain setup. What happened with Ethereum was they had this really good blockchain that worked well. Originally was sort of better than Bitcoin, all of that. I mean, every new crypto is better than the one before, of course, depending on who you talk to. But what Ethereum did was they allowed developers of other cryptos, tokens, to use the Ethereum blockchain. So that someone coming up with a new crypto altcoin token didn't have to create a whole new blockchain. They just used the Ethereum blockchain, which made it easier for them to create new cryptos. It also cemented Ethereum as a very popular token. It's being used by so many different communities and different cryptos. So it cemented Ethereum as a crypto that's not going to go away because everybody's using it. Too many people used it and overcrowded the system, and now the fees on Ethereum are pretty high, so people are starting to use different blockchains. So no real difference between a coin and a token. So, and I'm just going to go just a little bit more because this is getting a little bit more technical now, but it is important because it's used in crypto all the time now. Because the Ethereum blockchain was getting used by too many people, there's just so many transactions going through it every second, every day. It overloaded the system. It meant that those people that were handling the transactions, those miners, the decentralization around the world, were charging more and more to process the transactions. So fees to use the Ethereum network became basically too high. And a lot of cryptos were using the Ethereum network. So to use those cryptos, the network fee was too high. So there are a whole heap of other cryptos that have their own blockchain, just like Bitcoin has its own blockchain, Ethereum has its own blockchain. And these other ones, they, as time goes along, they refine it. They have different ways of organizing the blockchain so that it's quicker, can handle more transactions and all of that, and it's more secure. Each blockchain has its own little facets that make it better for some people. Some are more secure, some are faster, some can handle more volume. All of those sort of things are selling points for the different blockchains. And I'll just touch on one, even though there's a lot of them. Another really popular one is the Tron altcoin, the Tron, Tron, the Tron crypto. And first of all, just to confuse you a bit more, the Ethereum network, so the Ethereum blockchain is called the ERC20 network. Now the Tron blockchain / network, same thing, is called the TRC20 network. Now, a lot of people are using the Tron network to send their crypto. Now, instead of sending it on the Ethereum network, they're sending it on the Tron network because it's a hell of a lot cheaper. So I just wanted to touch on the differentiations there. So we've got Bitcoin, we've got Ethereum, we've got Tron, USDT. We'll talk a bit more about that later, but they're all different cryptos. They're different coins, different tokens. Bitcoin has a blockchain, Ethereum has a blockchain, Tron has its own blockchain, but I can send different, I could send whatever. Let's talk about USDT. I can send USDT. Normally, originally, it was built on the Ethereum blockchain, so you had to send it on the Ethereum network. But as we said, that fee became extremely high. Now you can send it on the Tron network, and instead of getting charged, $20, $30, $40 for a transaction, now you can get charged less than $1. That's the sort of difference. And being able to send an Ethereum token on the Tron token is something they call, I can't even think of it now. Like it's like a cross-network transaction. I forget the technical term, but anyway, that's enough. Just a lot of people get confused with what's a crypto, like what's a token or a coin, and what's a network. People start to get confused thinking TRC20 is a different type of token, but it's not. It's just a different type of network. A network is essentially just the blockchain that it's all running on. And then there's a little bit of confusion too, because the one crypto can have a few different names, really. Like USDT, it's a crypto. It's what they call a stable coin because it doesn't fluctuate in value. One USDT is always worth $1. But the crypto called USDT also gets called Tether. So, and for me, I fully understand that. But if you're brand new to crypto and somebody tells you you need to use some USDT, you go to your wallet might call it Tether. That's obviously confusing. But anyway, that's what we're here for, to go through all those different points. And, you don't know what you don't know. And when you know it, it's pretty easy. If you don't know it, it's pretty hard. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I'll touch on today. Was there any questions on what I've said? Did what I say make sense, or was it confusing? Because if it was confusing, I'll try and clear it up before we finish.
Oh, very clear, Leith. It's good, mate.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree. I actually learnt about networks today, so thank you.
Yeah, no,
Les,
that's definitely a confusing one.
Les, just a question to ask you. You actually have
Yeah.
a safe? You have a safe?
Maybe.
All right. Okay, no worries. Okay. So things like that, you've got to be careful what you get, I suppose, and also like I think different safes have different levels regarding protection, like on fire, etc. Is there?
Yeah.
Do you know of any particular brands that might be good to get? Because I mean, you can't just go and buy a safe. These requirements.
I'm not an expert on safes or anything, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, a safe's safe, but if you go and have a big house fire with a little safe in a little cheap ass safe in it, it's probably not going to be safe anymore. But there are obviously better safes, obviously more expensive safes that can handle a big fire.
Yeah. Yep.
It all depends on how much safety you want in your safe. And
Right. Okay.
All
Cool.
right.
Thanks.
That'll
Thank
do
you.
us, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll definitely post this up in the chat group, not the chat group, in the Facebook group later today and all that.